Logical,
Hello,
would you say?
everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. Today we have SWAT leader Rybread and SWAT High Command slash LIT Logical here for an interview about SWAT and the state of their army in 2022, almost 2023. Say hello.
Hi.
Good.
What's good?
Hello,
It's
everyone.
this is I'm Rybread.
Yeah, that's Rybread. And that's
I'm
Logical.
Rybread, aka Ouija, aka Uwigi.
And before we start the questions, just give me a second.
Yeah.
Fuck, come on. Fucking.
Bro, lighting the
There
cigar.
we fucking go. Brother's gotta focus. You know, a little bit of weed during interviews and bad.
You're right.
Oh, dog, same.
Okay, now. To get started with the interview, SWAT is up and down in the top 10 recently, ranging between 3rd and probably 6th. I think it's definitely a major. SWAT is a major army for sure. Bigger than RPF, bigger than IW, bigger than Help Force, but at the same time, there is a level of instability that some people associate with the army. What do you think of that when it comes to the general state and stability of SWAT?
I think that it definitely used to be like that. You know, SWAT's always had their ups and downs, and with recent voices being spoken, like people talking about SWAT, like, oh, this was, my experience and this is like what's going on. It that definitely lingers for a long time. And so now I think people don't understand like how it actually is going, and they just, believe what they hear.
Well, that's a
Yeah,
problem with a lot of that shit. What do you think, Logical?
yeah. They don't understand like the real stuff going on. Like
Hmm.
SWAT, since I've been in it, it's been up and down, but recently we've been pretty good. Like everyone's been pretty chill with each
I've
other,
noticed,
and
yeah, there has
we're
been
really good.
improvement in a lot of fields when it comes to SWAT and the maxes and general
Yeah,
stability. Of course, you still have problems, but I for
Yeah,
one,
but every
noticed
army
an
does,
uptick. Every army has instability, though. Every army has their
Yeah.
rogues, their staff, who are more on the sorry, who are more
Right.
on the wild side, the wild cards, if you will. I
Yeah,
am
yeah,
a
yeah.
notable wild card in some instances.
yeah,
So, Logic, what's your ranking and are you an LIT?
yeah. I'm at LIT right now.
Okay, leader in LIT. Two of the faces of the
Mhm.
army outside of Ganger and Cool Guy, probably. And the people who have been with the army for years and years and years. Considering you represent the newer generation of SWAT, what are your goals? What do you want to do? What are your intentions with the army during your 10 years in power?
Ooh, I can't answer that like
Answer
100%
that as much. Say
honestly.
as much as you can.
Okay, I can't answer it
There
honestly
are certain
because
things you can't answer. I get it. I get it. I get it. But yeah.
yeah, yeah, but like not for I want to definitely like get us some tournament W's because like LC like it was a bunch of hype and the troops really wanted to win, and like with the disqualification it was just like kind of hurt a little bit because we were
Yeah,
like
that
we are
definitely
really
hurt.
I
grinding. The
think
whole
Pandora just has
HCOM
brain
team,
damage.
the whole HCOM team was really doing a lot of work, and we were planning to like double it for the week against Templars, and then we just got disqualified, and everyone got demotivated for like a good week, and then we got back on the grind, and now we're back up. But definitely win some tournaments and then get. I want to get to number one,
Well,
but
I'll
nothing.
be honest. I think that before Legends Cup, things were like very rocky with like some of the people that were in there, and like Lego's influence as well. And once like Legends Cup started, and we like got all our HCOM together, and we are like, yeah, we're doing great. And then we get disqualified, and everyone was like, oh. Then people were talking about leaving. And um I don't know what happened, but something like clicked. Like I already like all my HCOM, but like I really we got to connect with them and actually be like good friends because it was a pretty new team, for me at least. And after that, we just all help each other out. It's not like we have really good communication and we're able to get stuff done fast, and people are willing to put in the extra effort, and I love that. Like,
Of
I
course,
that's
yeah.
all.
You have some
I
notable
just love,
people in the staff team, obviously. I mean, I know.
yeah.
Forgive me, cold still. I know you have what is it? You have Aisha, for example.
Hmm.
Aisha
I've known
is
her for years. I've known her for fucking years. It's wild. I remember seeing
Yeah.
her in the SWAT H com. I was like, "What are you doing here?" Because I served with her in 2017 RPF when I first joined CPA 5 years ago.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So it's like when she saw me, it's like, "The fuck are you doing here?" And it's like, "What are you doing here, buddy?" It's like, "Oh fuck."
Yeah,
She's got a
Aisha's
lot
like
of stories. A lot of stories of young me. Never ask her. Terrible idea. Don't do it. No, but I mean, that's definitely a very interesting bonding experience, the whole ups and downs of Legends Cup. And to summarize the foreign policy section of what you have in mind for SWAT, I just have one question. And I think it should get the point across for what I'm asking. You know, I think it's a Tolstoy book, War and Peace, but as I like to say, war or peace.
ooh. You gotta ask. I'll let Ryan talk first on
Wait,
it.
wait, War and Peace or
No,
War?
that's just the name of the book, but the question, war or peace, just overall.
Oh, um, Peace. Why? I mean, I feel like that's kind of a given. Anyone would say that.
Well, not war. Let me rephrase the question. Not war isn't like what you think of CPA war, where it's just like toxic conflict. I'm talking like good old. Sorry, my fucking cough is killing me. Good old
Oh, I
fashioned
know.
like good old fashioned kind of conflict. Like just not conflict drama conflict, but just like actual
Like
good
fun.
wars to keep the max up. Like that one practice battle we had.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think yeah, stuff like that when we just randomly get, you know, some other army comes in and they start like, covering us and doing all this. Like that's fun. Um, I definitely think that uh the warfare is very fun to me. I love the concept and I think that it should be utilized more and it should be taken more seriously. Um, but I think that people take it too far and that's kind of scary. So that's kind of why I say peace.
Fair enough. I mean,
I,
diplomacy is an important factor.
hmm
So yeah. Speaking of diplomacy, war and peace, you have a lot of people who have been involved in the army for a long time, including founder Ganger. What do you think when it comes to the disconnect? Because Ganger's been in armies for over a decade easily. Very, very old soul in the community of CP armies. Is there a disconnect when it comes to talking with people like Cool Guy or Ganger who have been in the army for decades and people like you or Logical who are still kind of finding your footing
yeah,
and learning?
yeah. Um,
In what way?
I I don't think that like me personally, I'm able to, talk with Ganger and Golgai about like, what a like OGCP and how things were different and like learning a lot from them. But I think a lot of CPPS uh members, I guess, don't understand um and they do have that disconnect. But I hope to not have that. That's why I like, ask about it and I learn about it.
Well, the disconnect between culture and history in someone's army is a really modern problem because in OG
Mhm.
especially, there was a lot of focus on an army's national identity and an army and the people of the army, and there
Yeah.
was a
I think
culture.
I think nowadays it's definitely lost its culture. It's a lot more political rather than
Army
um
cultural, right?
yeah, yeah, rather than like, rich with actual story. Like I don't feel like there's any story in this. I feel like it's just a power competition.
And there should be a story, and there was a story for a long time. I mean,
Mhm.
you remember in OG, you have conflicts between, you know, RPF nachos, ACP nachos, Lord Payne, and ACP, and that's just on an individual versus entity level. And don't get me wrong, actually, I love Payne. He's so funny. He's one of the funniest guys I know in CPA. Really smart, really good with his tactics. He's great.
Right.
But generally speaking, armies were great when there was an overall storyline, and armies had feuds and identities and battles and wars, and they would have dozens of wars with the same army,
yeah,
right?
Mhm.
I
That's what made
agree.
armies great. That's what made armies really, really good and powerful.
Mhm.
So, if we're being completely fair, modern armies has suctioned that out in looking for a replacement being a political solution, where they view it as a political problem, political things, where
Yep.
you can just kind of debate and argue and diplomacy and scheme your way rather than fight someone on the battlefield.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think
It's
it's a
very
problem myself.
difficult.
What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like, in OG, like I never experienced it, but I feel like now, let's say for example, you're in SWAT where like, the rogue agents or whatever, and I feel like that way people would have so much more interest in it. And um I think Templars is definitely the most I guess culturally accurate in the modern day. Like they live to their name, like they're Templars.
They didn't switch up. I remember I was Generation 1 Templars and the Army was brand new when the Army was around in late 2018, 2019. I remember fighting Gen 1 Templars, working with Gen 1 Templars, Zing, El Mikey, Cabin, Echo, all the same people who've been there from the start. And they have not let go of that identity. And I feel like that's a lot of
Mhm.
that is what's happened to armies like the BIA armies, like RPF, especially considering I grew up in RPF. When I was in RPF as a kid, there was
Mhm.
a cultural identity. Armies existed and they had this continuous history. And armies were almost like their own countries, like how they were originally
They
envisioned
had
and
their
seen
own
out as. They
flags.
had their own allies, their own history, their own culture, their own traditions, their own legacy. And I feel like, and not to be specifically with names, but especially in the BIA armies, especially in, CPA org, CPA HQ, these
Mhm.
modern entities, in the name of unbiased bullshit, in the name of, quote, fairness, which in reality isn't equality of opportunity, but equality of outcome, if you ask me, is what they do. They don't practice proper equality. You have
Right.
a lot of efforts in the modern day to censor and change and rewrite and replace the actual original culture of Club Penguin armies, and I feel like that is a really dangerous thing to have happen, and that certain armies have seen this, like the Templars, the Army of Club Penguin, the Dark Vikings, SWAT to some extent. They've seen that there is an effort on to, whether they know it or not, they are actively killing off old army culture in the name of army hangout culture, of CPPS hangout culture.
Exactly.
And they replace, and I've noticed this, you go into the new CP server, the CPL server, the CPF Discord server, they talk so
Mhm.
similarly to the BIA armies because in reality, RPF and IW, they're hardly armies anymore. Water Vikings, they're on that path in some ways where they substitute out army culture because it benefits the people who own the server, it benefits the powerful, because natural army culture is automatically harder to just rule over absolutely. And
Mhm.
then from there, you have this process of degradation where private server culture and community chat gaming server culture gets substituted in, and it kills any work ethic or foundation in the army. You saw it happen to the army at Club Penguin in 2021, and now, almost 2 years later, you can only see they're just starting to recover thanks to Calgo because he sees the problems.
Yes.
What do you think about that? What's your stance on all that? What's your stance with SWAT on that?
Um, it's kind of hard to answer
It's difficult to ask
I
tough questions.
because I don't know how to relate. Like I joined armies 2 years ago, right when BIA formed in and so I kind of just
So you don't really know what it
grew
was
up.
like before. I've got 5 years almost under my belt. I've
Yeah.
seen them. I was in RPF at RPF
I always
CPPS Cultural Peak. I've seen them rip away the culture of RPF of IW. These armies have been essentially whitewashed out of their legacy and their history, and again replaced by power hungry Discord mods and people who are hilariously bad at their jobs.
I will also say, just like I was in Dark Warriors until its closure, and they literally like in the
The same problem.
last the last month before they closed, it was like, oh, I don't, no one wanted to do events or no one had any like real intent to keep going with the army roleplay. So they were just like, let's turn it into a hangout server, and they did, and it was honestly it was really successful, but that's not the point.
That's not the point. You can be successful as a gaming server but abandon your roots. How much are you willing to
Yeah.
pay? How much are you willing to sacrifice? You don't have to do Club Penguin events anymore. That's nice, but you've sacrificed everything you stood for years. I mean, it comes to the questions like, are you going to be a sellout or not? I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of these admins and a lot of these people are sellouts, and for all his achievements and for all his flaws, I can confidently say Ganger, for example, hasn't sold out SWAT culturally.
Yeah,
Right?
I
You've
don't think
Yeah.
got
so.
certain army leaders who refuse to
Right.
sell out Army's culture, and it's difficult for people who joined in 2019, 2020 to understand because you guys don't know a time before any of the bullshit that's been pulled in the past 3 years. You
Yeah.
guys don't know a time, which is why, on a personal level, I like to give props to you two for reading the history and talking to the veterans and actually trying to learn what the community was like before you arrived because nobody else does that. And naturally, the reading of army history and the story of armies naturally brings you to this conclusion because it is the correct opinion, it's the correct conclusion, just covered. It's hard to see, it's hard to read. You have to see the forest for the trees. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult. What do you think, Logical?
Um, yeah, I mean, I don't like that armies turn like just in the gaming server. I wish they could just like stay up and not get sold out by their creators to become. I get it if like the army's doing bad, but still like I think it should hold up
We're
to its.
seeing, yeah, exactly. We're seeing multiple armies sell out to gaming server culture live. RPF set the trend. Spartans Gaming is the only one to do it correctly because they started off as a gaming server and then the army branch before closing the army branch under Mustafa 10, one of the
Yep.
greatest Doritos eaters of all time. But even in the past month, in October, September, and just in October alone, Ice Warriors has all but declared that they're withdrawing from the map, withdrawing from the top 10, limiting their events. IW is peacefully preparing their bed to die as an army,
Yep.
right? And in the same
Agreed.
vein, this happened to Lime Green Army. El Greeny announced in a post that it was a whole thing. It's like, oh, we're becoming a gaming server. We're embracing our roots. We're embracing kind of something other than armies, and you have to really look at where that got them, right? I mean, hell, GA for the Night Warriors revival, which is something I have a reporter working on right now. The very secret, very quiet revival of the Night Warriors, which I have heard about from multiple individuals within the army itself. It contains two former LGA leaders. It contains Jojo Terry and Tide, two people who were appointed LGA leader at the end of its lifespan as an army, just to finish
Hmm.
off and do the last bit of Green's dirty work before they all finally retired. And you can see these people who aren't done with armies, and even if they're questionable people, you can see the drive and demand for people who aren't done with armies, who don't want to sell out their culture, who want to put armies first, and people who want to protect army identity, to protect armies from death and destruction, whether it's dress up destruction or pure warfare destruction. People who actually care about their armies, and there are people in all the armies, every army, who cares about their armies. But certain armies, especially the BIA armies, always seem to be so opposed to it because, for lack of a better term, I personally think, and this is just my opinion, I think their heads are up their own ass with it.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? You reach this
Yeah.
turning point where it's like, as an army, as an institution, as a wider community, it's like, are we still going to be armies in a year? I mean, obviously people are saying armies are dying. I mentioned this to you just last night, Raya. People have been
Yeah.
saying armies have been dying since 2014. This has been a constant debate
And
and
then
struggle for 8 years, and yet here we are.
I think that club like armies did die like in 2016, 2015, and
They
like
died.
it
They were
didn't
small,
actually
but a couple
die.
held on, and they waited for the next time to strike. RPF held
Yeah.
on. ACP held on a little bit. The armies really held on and found that opportunity in 2017, 2018 with CPR and later CPO.
I feel like it was reborn, but it didn't have the same like richness in it.
Because,
It
that's
was
a degradation in culture. As bad things happen to a country, let's say You have Syria, for example, not to compare to the bloodshed in Syria, but in the 2000s, you have Syria, which is an authoritarian state, but it has a culture, it has a history, it is a functional country. You have a brutal collapse, a brutal civil war, and now Syria, just at the end of the civil war in 2011, a decade, 11 years later, they're rebuilt, and in numbers, they're okay in some extent. Of course, the country's still in shambles. A lot of that cultural identity is gone.
Yeah.
And the exact same thing happened in armies. The exact same thing. Fracturing wars, which are good for armies, but without an actual core homeland on a private server that's active and successful, or called Penguin itself, without any of that, we run into the problem where, to me at least, it becomes undeniable that the people who are running things right now in armies, whether it's CPAN HQ, CPA org, whether it's the BIA leaders, whether it's just generally people in armies who are in charge of their respective armies, they're not doing a good job at protecting and preserving culture. And the only armies that I would say do that well are Templars, SWAT, and ACP. Water Vikings tries, they have their moments. Dark Vikings is really new, and they're trying the same principle. And when it comes down to it, only a
I think,
handful of old established armies still care about that.
yeah, I think after IC left in IW, then it started to lose its, grasp on culture. But even so, I don't know. I know that IW had a really rich history as well,
They did. They
but
have a
I don't
great
know
culture,
any.
great history. The Ice Warriors, one of the top 10 probably armies of all time in
For
army
sure,
history.
yeah.
And it's a shame to
Hmm.
see that culture get sold out and degraded by e-girls in the leadership, for lack of a better term. No disrespect to yourself. You know what I mean.
I understand.
And yeah, I think, what does SWAT think about cultural decline in SWAT? And if you do see cultural decline ever start to pop up, do you have a plan, or do you even want to try and tackle it and protect the army from collapsing itself in?
I mean, I'll be honest,
It's
last
difficult
year
because you don't have the
and the year
experience.
before, um, it definitely started to look like SWAT was losing its culture with like the people leading. They wanted to do like a bunch of things. And I mean, I want to do those things too, but it didn't seem like they cared. It seemed like they honestly wanted to make it more of a gaming server.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
There's a balance.
and yeah, and then, you know, time goes by and we're still going. The leaders are new and
It's up to
we're
you,
trying to
really.
pick that back up. Like, I think
Exactly.
we're trying to pick up our culture again and um,
Run with the
be,
torch.
yeah, actually be, what's the word?
An
Like,
army.
be proud,
Yeah, be
be
proud.
proud
Because no matter
of
what
what
army
we
you're
are.
in, you should be proud to be in that army. You should be in what I always call it, a CP Army nationalist or a CP Army patriot, and you should always be very happy and proud with the army you come
Mhm.
from, the armies you've led and worked in and fought for. That there should
Yeah,
be this level of identity. You should almost treat it like a nationality, almost in the microcosm of armies. You should be
exactly. And
always focusing. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't want to be part of an army that I didn't agree with. Like, after Secret Service closed, I was basically signed off to Templars to work there for a little bit, and I it didn't feel right, you know? It felt like I was only here because of SS dying, and then I looked around and saw like where could I go? Where do I actually enjoy talking in? And I landed on SWAT, but um, I think a lot of people do that and don't really care, like army hoppers. They just go and see which one they like, and if they don't like it, then they just leave, you know? And I think that's a little bit corrupted in today.
Mm-hmm. I definitely agree with the corruption aspect of it and the degradation that's come upon Army culture. And I sound like a broken record, but the reason I always talk about it so much, the reason I always fight for it so much, is because without an Army's culture, what are we, right? What is an Army without Army culture?
Yeah.
And, whether it's on the record, off the record, speaking of it, I've always, my entire career, fought for Army values and for things that make armies strong rather than things that make them weak at the benefit of leaders, right?
Right.
And I think, especially in SWAT, you guys, the current generation of leaders, the ball is really in your court. It's really in your hands, and whether or not you younger, newer leaders with a lot more time than someone who's a little older like me, or someone like Payne or Ganger, or Goblin, for example, or even someone like Slider or McCappy, that you guys have a lot more energy, a lot more new ideas, and a lot more drive to kind of accomplish things in CPA. And I think with the right guidance from the older generation, you can innovate and make SWAT great, but also maintain and defend said distinct Army's cultural identity, because, say again, without a cultural identity, what is an Army? What does an Army have?
Right, yeah. I definitely agree with that. I think like right now our HCOM team is a good mix of OGs and like CPPS people.
It's an important balance.
It's a good balance, and our leaders too. Like I'm the newest, and then there's Toxic and Ollie and Cool Guy being like the oldest out of all of us. So he's kind of like,
he's been there for like a decade, right?
yeah.
Cool Guy would do anything for SWAT. Cool Guy and Ganger have got to be the best fucking friends behind the scenes. There's no chance like that long together.
I know for sure. They're actually like mob ties. It's
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, hell, he's been serving under Ganger. He's been like Ganger's right hand man for a fucking decade.
Yeah.
No, yeah, mob ties. It's like a lit 7 and I.
I feel like they may have their differences sometimes, but it's not gonna. It's like a brother bond almost.
It's just like
Like
lit
you
7
can't
and
really
I.
get
Exactly.
that. Yeah.
Like for another example, like with the lit, I mean, I accept that he's wrong whenever he disagrees with me. No, I'm joking.
Exactly.
Apologies. Still, just barely coming off of this cough here, this cold. But
All good, man.
especially when it comes to the CPA debate and armies, it really gets to an important part of what I want to ask and what I want to learn about when it comes to SWAT. Outside of all the drama, outside of what you want, all the wars, everything that kind of ties into what we've been talking about thus far. What do you want for a legacy? When you want people to think of Rybred and Logical, what do you want them to think of? What is your legacy in CPA? What even is a legacy? Is it a wiki page? Is it an army? Is it a server named after you? Tell me.
Yeah, Logical, do you want to answer first?
Yeah. I have like a real main goal, but I won't say that here because it's between me and Rye only.
Me and me.
But me and me. But I want to be like eventually, like I don't know how long it's gonna take, but if I become leader, I want to be like, yo, that's the person that led SWAT to #1. They took down Templars, That'd be a cool little accomplishment and legacy to hold. But
And then
we help, and then I delete SWAT. But
what do you think then, Rye?
I don't know. I don't know what I want my legacy to be. Like, I definitely want to have one. And I want to be somebody that is almost like, I want to like bring back the life, I feel like it's just very dead.
The life in CPA?
Yeah, the life in CPA. I don't really care about like what army I lead, and obviously I want to like be a legend in SWAT. I mean, that'd be pretty sick. But but just knowing that people will remember me that's all I really care about. I just want to be remembered one way or another. Whether that be 20 people or whether that be, hundreds.
Mm-hmm. It comes down to yeah. It's a relatively nice goal. That's a nice. It's a good goal. It's a good goal. It's something to really think about, and
Yeah.
especially
Like
within the CPA space. Yeah.
I'm not really asking for anything in particular because I don't know the future of armies. Like it can last for another 10 years or it can, die next year.
I want someone to
You
get a
don't
tattoo of
know.
my penguin on them. Somebody in this fucking community. I want B
Yeah,
Sharp Act 2 tattooed on someone by the end of my career.
got you.
I don't care who it is.
Oh, no,
I'm joking.
it has to be written in like that gothic font.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
no one knows what it actually says. They have to ask you and then you go, "Oh, it's B-sharp."
And they, oh, what's that hour-long rant about some fucking Canadian or Club Penguin?
No, I'll just end up making a YouTube video. So I'll just like, here, watch this. Just like 2 hour long
And I
video on.
think,
I really
yeah,
something really cool, like I wish somebody in armies would like get genuinely famous and would talk about it in the future.
I think I
Like
am on it.
they'd
As
make
much as I hate to
music
say
or
this, I
they
think I am the best bet for that right now.
you are. Really are. Or like if somebody were, I don't know, an actor or
Like
some sort
you know,
of
my plan, that little secret, not secret, but that little down low project in March,
Mm,
get that up and running, get that going, figure out what that's about, get a
yes, sir.
documentary out, and then maybe start
Documentary.
making actual long form YouTube videos on CPA. Just kind of bring the relevancy to it.
Yeah.
Promote, promote,
Either
promote.
way, if I get Club Penguin reopened, I get automatic fucking legend in every army, every server. I don't care.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
I mean, that would be
Yeah.
sick though. It's like if even if it reopened for 1 year, that's like another golden age right there. That's a fucking golden age.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But
And
mm,
they're like, yeah, you can have 1 year.
you can have 1 year, but that 1 year and all the people would bring back, that would
Yeah.
sustain us for a decade.
Oh my, that would be like a platinum age.
Because yeah, it would just be like
A golden age.
we'd be back on top. The boys would be back in town. But
Literally.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. Do you think there's another golden age coming? Do you think anything like that is bound to happen?
Um, I don't know.
Sorry, I've been
Uh,
asking a lot of difficult questions because I wanted to start asking more thought-provoking questions.
I think, yeah, no, I think like what you said yesterday about like there's a golden age and then there's a dark age. I feel like we're kind of falling into that dark age, but
Well, armies are
not
cyclical,
not
right?
yet. I feel like
We're on the
we're gonna
cusp
be
of it.
pretty steady
Armies
for a
are
bit.
cyclical. I've always said this. I always will say this. Armies operate in cycles, not in defined years, but relatively under 5. You've got, if
Yes.
you look at defined eras, armies start, they pick up steam over 1 or 2 years, and there's a long golden age up until 2013 ish. And then 2014, 2015, you see a dark age, which would carry through, and then that would go to the closure of CP, and it would plummet us farther when it was just RPF and then Romans and RPF, just like 2007, ironically, going into 2017. And then you've got this precipice of 2018, where after 4 years and like a slow decline, 2018, 2019, there's a boom, and it shoots up, and everyone's maxing above 100, and we're doing great, and we're winning, and we're on top. And then that kind of starts to slow down in 2020. That keeps going all the way to 2021. And in 2021, you see the sharp plummet again. It was really sharp. It was shorter, and
Yeah.
a quicker decline. It was a shorter wait, but it was a much sharper fall. Unless you compare it to, say, the actual closure of original Club Penguin. Right? And I know that's something that a lot of, well, when it comes to you guys, I know that's something you guys weren't around for, right?
Yeah,
Kind
no,
of
I
end of
was
the
not.
world
I
feeling.
I even um I was in uh armies until like April 2021 and then left and then all that stuff happened And then I come back a year later and I'm like, this is completely different.
Yeah, this place is a fucking dump. I will gladly say this. This place fucking sucks. The only
It
thing that
wasn't
makes
even
worth
until
the only thing that makes armies worth living is like superheroes cardboard box he made for us called CPAB. God bless his soul. Super's great. I've got to get Super scheduled for a podcast
known
in the
these
next couple of
contestants like
weeks.
this.
Super is really, really informed, really smart. He's spoken to Rocket Snail before, like myself.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, when it comes to SWAT specifically, where do you think in the coming probably Dark Age and then the eventual Rise Again, where do you think SWAT stands in that? What do you think SWAT will be?
I mean, we'll keep our head high. I'll try as hard as I can to um, keep it alive, and whether that be events or it be something else, who knows? But I want to keep the name like of SWAT rulers and like that whole.
Honestly, I don't think it's really the most effective to just be doing the same rituals on CPAB. As much
Yeah.
as people hate CPL for being run by a pedophile, and as much as people hate new CP for being a downloadable client, I feel like it's so much more useful to even dabble in CPPS stuff. I've always said this. Just out of pure principle, new CP is very friendly to armies. They're receptive to armies. As long as you
Yep.
don't recruit off their Discord and you use their private server, they don't care. So any army would be a fool to not at least look in to having recruiters there. I know the Dark Vikings does. I know ACP does, etc. And the new CP and even CPL and CPF are fertile oil wells. The only three we have left of private servers that still exist, and we refuse to use them just out of lethargy and refusing to change and innovate, and old heads who used to
And
survive doxings and
accessibility.
swattings back on Old Club Penguin to be afraid to download something.
I feel like also I'll mention on CPAB, there's really no grind for anything. Like on new CP, everything's the way that it was in normal Club Penguin. Like you had
That's
to,
Club Penguin right there.
yeah, you had to like work and like, work, play like games, get coins, buy stuff, and like decorate everything. And in CPAB, it was just like, oh, there's a code. There's a code for this. Yo, what's the code for today's event? Like, it's it's lost its spice there for sure. And no one really cares because it's easy to just do that instead of, downloading a client and playing it the normal way or the old way.
And that I think you can put modern twists on the old way and make it work in a blended manner that's effective. You do so much better than just repeating the same old death rituals and being pessimistic.
Yeah. I think honestly, CPAB is definitely, it's just meant to be a battleground. Like, I loved the feature of, seeing how many people are in a room or see how many people are online, or, being able to have like a name glow in CPATG and like knowing what army people are in. Like, I like those features. I think that's cool. But everything else,
There comes a certain point where you need to let armies be armies, and you need to let armies kind of function in their own environment without interference.
yeah. Oh, and also, when is SWAT gonna get their own emote?
What's it again? Sorry.
When is SWAT gonna get their own emote?
It's Wednesday. You guys gotta win something. Fuck.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll be your goal to get SWAT and emote on CPAB.
That will be our goal.
I mean, hey, all you have to do is win one thing. One thing. It'll happen eventually. It'll happen.
We almost had it, man. We almost had it.
Yeah, we were gonna win Legends Cup.
Thanks to
Sandor.
Andor. Thanks to Andor.
Yeah, thanks. Pandor.
Never have I seen a man get cooed from power so fast, and I watched Queenie Liz get overthrown in the matter of a day, and I've never seen someone get thrown into power so fast. Ever. Like,
it was so sad, dude.
that shit was instant, dog. You order 66 his ass.
Yep.
Yep. Well, don't multi-load. At least he could have hit it better, but.
because leaders when that came out and we were asking Pandora like, yo, what's like, we're hearing all this stuff, like what's up? And then Pandora's like, oh yeah, no, that, you know, it's my cousins. And like legitimately. And then I mentioned like, how come you like they both logged off at the same time down to the same millisecond? Because like he was lying to us and like trying to defend himself, and then Bro goes, "Oh,
a couple minutes apart."
I know,
It's
like
basic.
Be for real. And his response to that was, "Oh, yeah, that's interesting." I was like, "You're done."
You're done. You're gone. Just
Controller. Dude, no, because when Mayor and Ops changed their names to Controller and CPA, I died. So I genuinely thought that was so funny.
That's funny. It's fucking hilarious. But I mean, yeah, I think SWAT being one of the few major armies that isn't, like, cucking out, like, Templars isn't, ACP is small medium and they're not cucking out, and SWAT is between medium and major and they're not cucking out, right?
Yeah.
So realistically speaking, it's like, it's difficult, right? It's very, very difficult to...
Yeah, we gotta focus on our maxes.
It is very difficult because, you know, I still can't believe Pandora did that. Just like speaking on the Legends Cup thing, I've known Pandora. Hell, I literally you remember when Pandora was running for SWAT leader?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know how he had that really in-depth, well-formatted presidential leadership speech?
That was it, wasn't
Yeah, I fucking wrote that shit.
I knew it. I was like,
no, fuck off.
No, because the way that he normally talks in like announcements and stuff, yeah, yeah, Aisha. The fact that like when that came out, because I spent a lot of time on my speech.
I did that shit in the car,
and
drunk.
Pandora's comes out like before mine. I'm like, there's no way. And then it's like, you know, what you wrote, and I was like, whoa, this is crazy. And then Smithy comes out with his, and it's like basically the same thing.
Yeah,
I was
those
like,
are my dogs. I should mention those are my dogs, right? Those are my boys. No, I'll tell you. I was going to a family gathering. We're driving home. I'm like fucking. I'm zonked. I'm gone. I'm off the booze. I'm off the juice. I'm fucking gone. And I'm just there like trying to ghostwrite, fucking drunk in the car, trying to ghostwrite this fucking Club Penguin leadership speech. And I still fucking killed it. You still
made him win, bruh.
I know Bill Pandora, right? He didn't campaign properly, but that speech was one of the best ones, right?
Okay, but I'm not gonna lie. Like, I don't know if you saw. Thank you. I don't know if you saw, but him and Smithy like recruited their asses off. Like the only time that Pandora ever recruited was for the election, and he had like 120 votes, and then Cool Guy and Ganger were like, okay, time to tally these votes, and he went down to like 60 because they were all people. They like so many of them were new SWAT agents, like so many, and a lot of them were deemed fake.
To be a certain rank.
Yeah.
Oh, I just read the chat. I have the chat going on my phone. For those who are not watching my Discord, obviously, Aisha just said in the chat, and I quote, "Pop off Bishar," but genuinely Bishar doing a lot with armies plus CPAC. Thank you very much.
Yes.
I try my best. I mean, it's not that bad. I mean, I'm a staff with TCP. I roll with my boys there. I essentially kicked Pandor out of Dark Vikings leadership because he wasn't doing anything, and I figured I'd substitute myself to kind of mediate between the other leaders and let them take the army in their direction. I'm a SWAT advisor. I put it in my nickname, and then I just waited for someone to actually offer me SWAT advisor, and it worked. I'm working on all the news stuff, etc.
Wait, do you have a wiki? I never actually looked you up.
I do have a wiki. I have another translation for the chat, Aisha. Sorry, I have like Walter White throat cancer. Be sure for Army Legend when. Yeah, no, you should look at my wiki page actually. My wiki page is fire.
I'm making mine right now.
I'm gonna send you the link. I'll send you the link on my. Actually, what am I doing? What? Actually, wait, no. I'm gonna pull up my.
I got it right here.
Wiki. Do you have it?
Yeah.
Can you send me the link in the chat?
It's in there.
I want to pull it up on stream. Ah, yes. This is a very good wiki page. I'm also heavily referenced in the World War VII wiki page on the July raids.
Yeah.
The most important thing on this wiki page, you can read through all the army history you want, but it's the gallery at the bottom, which is important. Is that blood? Fuck. No, I'm good. World Star. We finished this interview. Woo! Anyways, yeah.
Do you see I give you some water?
I literally am drinking water actively. But
Stop.
If you look at the page, the most important part is a bunch of little silly pictures from my army career at the bottom, and then a picture of me when I was 12 in CPA versus me now in CPA, or me in the summer.
Yeah.
Approximately 4 years apart. You know how it is.
Oh yeah, you have the sign that you made.
No, that was made by the lady who makes street signs for my city. That's like an official, like, made by the street sign lady.
Nice.
It is the RPF flag, Aisha. Okay, Aisha. The thing is, okay, you're biased. You remember when that photo was a thing. You remember the day that came in the mail, the day I opened that up, the day I sent that photo, and the day I absolutely revolutionized my army career. My God. Oh, fuck me. It's fucking brutal. Take me back. Yeah, good old days. It's almost as bad as the RPF fan fictions, man. You remember that, Aisha? But keep in mind, I have the links for all of these. I still... Oh, Jesus. I'm not sending the fan fictions during the podcast. I'll send them to you after. The only notable thing that happened with that was me requesting one about Lit and Dino from Water Vikings leader, because we were all boys back in the day, still are boys. And then also Lit disguising his account as mine, and then sending and requesting a fan fiction about me pretending to be me, like a fucking. It's Dino's birthday? No shit.
Oh my gosh! Wait, happy birthday!
Hold on, I'm gonna go into this guy's DM.
On the 26th. Yo, happy birthday, Dino.
I just DM'd him. I wonder if I have. Yeah, I do have this. I have this really old photo of This is a beauty.
Yeah, I don't think we've.
This is from 2018. I found one old picture of Dino and I's DMs in 2018 when we were like 12.
Mm-hmm.
It's fucking wild. It was like my plastic army man on the side of the bathtub when I was like 11 or 12, and then Dino shit posting about it. Good fucking times. I don't know. Dino takes it serious. I can hear my sister in the background. Anyways, yes, back to SWAT. Forgive me, we got sidetracked for like 10 minutes, but that's the nice thing about these podcasts, because you can talk and get genuinely good conversation on here. That's why I prefer podcasts to text interviews. Because,
Colorize 1970.
I know. Man, both of us, Dino and I, we both cringe at that shit. Anyways, SWAT.
Yeah.
SWAT. We're talking about SWAT. But again, that is the nice thing about these interviews. You can just go off topic for 5 minutes and talk about something else and still have a fine podcast.
Yeah, Max.
And
SWAT.
when it comes to SWAT specifically, what is your max goal? And say, what do you want to be maxing consistently by the new year in like 2 months, 3 months?
Ooh.
Oh, 45.
Now this
I
is
think
something
that's
I'm going
good.
to hold you to. If SWAT doesn't max 45 at least once by January 1st, I'm coming to kill you.
Now we will.
We
I have
will.
faith. I'm imminent. I have faith.
That's like being.
Inshallah. You're right, Aisha. Inshallah. So true. So true. Inshallah.
I
No, I'm not
think
kidding.
I think 45 is unrealistic, just based on how we're doing now. But I think like Christmas chaos, we could definitely get it if we worked hard enough. Yeah, 35 to 40 would be good, is what Aisha said.
I can hear my sister pissing off my dad in the background because they're arguing now. My sister, she'll come over just to fuck with my parents. It's so funny.
We hit. Did we hit 26 yesterday? Yeah, I think so.
And she's
Yeah, we hit
antagonizing.
26.
That's funny as fuck. That's
We did
so
26
funny.
yesterday, and then last week we had a max 30.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think SWAT realistically could be on track for 40 if you guys really go hard at it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, when it comes down to it, it's like it's a bright.
I
think
mean-
personally, it's a bright future for all armies if they play their cards right.
Yeah, no, I was just about to say that, like, any army can do this. Any army can
Templars
become
does it because
major
they're dedicated,
with the right,
and if any army puts in that same amount of dedication,
with the right mindset, like,
the right army mindset,
Yeah.
the right materials,
and
just
the
like,
right
yeah,
people. Like,
right
it's not just about how many recruits can I get? Da 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 da. It's about how many recruits care. That's what
You
matters.
create a culture
Like-
of caring in SWAT. You make it a community, a family, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, if we're being realistic, that is the most important thing in an army. That sense of community. What?
You know that copy pasta of recruiting where it's like, hey, can you pretty please join one of my servers? I'm trying to make friends. Like that
Is shitty.
2
You need
years
to find
ago
people.
got
You need to make
so
a ballsy
abusive.
war video. You need to be George
Hey,
Bush
sorry,
recruiting for
father,
Iraq.
but-
You need to be George Bush getting ready to go into fucking Iraq. It's like, hey, we need big balls. We need boys on the ground. We need motherfuckers who are ready to fuck shit up. Let's fucking go. And then you get the right people. Oh, Jesus. Fuck.
Back.
Hey, if you're bored, me and my friends play on this Club Penguin server that's really cool. Laughing emoji. Where is it? There we
Here's
go.
a better recruiting message. Go into their DMs.
Club Penguin War. Join.
Literally gonna do that. Literally gonna do that now.
I mean, well, I did it that one time at my mall because I am known for recruiting at my mall for CPA sometimes. Like imagine you're like a dude in the mall and you see me walk up to you with a business card with a QR code on it with like a link to a CP Army Discord, and it's like, hey, join my army, right? Yeah, I'm working right now. Yeah, I'm working right now, dog. I can pee outside. You're right. I can pee outside. I have the capabilities for that. I will pee outside if I have to pee. I don't think it's like life or death that Danielle's taking a bath right now. Anyways, SWAT. But no, this is genuinely what I like about these interviews because it's like a good 30
Nah,
minute
dog.
hour conversation just about armies and people like to listen to that shit. Anyways, I'm really out of questions. Is there anything else you guys really want to add or anything like that?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that what you
Shoot.
said,
What do you want to add? Yes, come to our events. Okay, thank you.
Our
Aisha.
events.
Yeah, come to our events.
I feel like
Dude.
Rye's trying to think of something like prophetic to say to end it off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you know what I need to end this off with? And that's right. Signing off.
I'll try signing off and fight the good fight. Ah, that takes me back, Aisha, man. If I could get in a time machine and go back to 2017 RPF, I would savor every day of Twitchy trying to force himself on Danielle's 13-year-old sister in the staff chat. You remember that shit? You remember that shit? Not in a bad way. Okay, no. I should clarify. That makes Twitchy sound like a pedophile. That's not true. It was like an inside joke with the staff team. I just think it's really funny how I have the video. I need to see if I have that video. I have it on. I'm sending it right now. It's loading in the chat right now. I mean, this is a great video, a great instance of CP Army culture from 2018.
Attention, Rebel Penguin Federation.
It's me.
It's me,
Twitchy
Twitchy
543.
543. I am here in my RPF uniform, my green hat,
my
my black sunglasses, my black parka, my red backpack, my black electric guitar,
and my black sneakers.
and my black sneakers. Today I bring to you an important message.
Fight
the good fight. This has been a message from Twitchy 543, former RPF leader and RPF icon.
Do you remember that time I was like 11 and I accidentally sent a picture of like a foot massager I had to RPF chat, and Twitchy said word for word, Bishar, I would rather you send porn to this chat than do that again. There were so many. I still have the old scrapbooks, Aisha. I have like all the old scrapbooks on Google Docs, like all the old 2017, 2018 scrapbooks. Dude, yeah, the fact I said that shit in sync with the video, yeah.
Like, okay, yeah, no, because I pressed play, and then you started reciting it as if you could hear it. And I was like, wait.
This is me.
What?
Twitchy543. I'm here in my RPF uniform. My green hat, my black sunglasses, my black parka, my red backpack, my black electric guitar, and my black sneakers. I'm here today to bring to you an important message. Fight the good fight. This has been a message from Twitchy543, former RPF leader and RPF icon.
Lovely.
I don't know why I have that belt. I can belt that off on memory, just like...
Yeah,
oh,
that's
the Town
beautiful.
of Salem days. Yeah, that's some good shit. Anyways, we're going to continue this conversation about old RPF in like 30 seconds. I'm going to wrap up the podcast. Thank you. Thank Dutch. Arthur. I'm literally Arthur Morgan right now. Dutch. Dutch. Thank you for coming to this episode of the podcast. I'll see you soon. Probably with Calgo Cubs or Super. I don't know yet. Or maybe someone else. Depending on if I survive to the next one. If I don't, Lit 7 will host it for me. This has been another episode of Cove Chats with B Sharback 2. Thank you to Logical and Rye and the Special Weapons and Tactics of Club Penguin for coming through to speak with me tonight. And Aisha as well for being in the chat. This is B Sharback 2 signing off.
This is Rye Bread signing off.